strong, led by another rally for tech stocks. It's at 26.
680 News Time, 401.
Traffic and weather together on the one, Zach Bodenstein.
All right, James, well, big problems, like you said, westbound 401 approaching Markham Road. All express lanes are blocked because of a vehicle fire cleanup. So it's jammed right now from Morningside in both the express and collectors. Obviously, it's just not getting through at all in the express. You might want to just hop off and take Shepherd altogether. So if you do get off, you'll want to get off at Morningside because that's where the delays start. Get it up to Shepherd, and then you can rejoin the 401 pretty much after that. So your safest bet around McCowan. That's where things start to ease off at this point. Road, you're looking a lot better. Now, the westbound 401 after that, approaching Dixie in the collectors. There's a right lane block to the crash. It's jammed from the 427 towards Dixie in the collector lanes. Stalled vehicle west 401 at Huron, Ontario in the express. It's slow approaching Mavis in the express towards Mississauga Road. Northbound 427 crash north of Burnham Thorpe collectors. Right lane blocked. It's slow from approaching Burnham Thorpe in the collectors to north of it, and very slow from Bloor in the express to the westbound 401 ramp. And construction on the westbound Lakeshore Windermere blocking the right lane, and it's very slow from Parkside. Your next report is at 4:11, and with the forecast, good afternoon, Natasha Ramsahai.
Good afternoon. Increasing cloud here. That's what we had today, and a couple of isolated showers are possible over the next couple of hours, really out through the west end, Hamilton, Burlington, and then westward. Otherwise, we're going to clear out cloud tonight, waking up to sunshine and 4 degrees, and tomorrow's partly cloudy. We've got a high of 11 degrees. Just remember, cooler near the lake. Overnight tonight, down to a low of 4 degrees. It's currently 12 degrees at Pearson.
680 News Time, 403.
We have breaking news from 3 chief medical officers of health, Toronto, Peel, and Ottawa. They've gone public with a request for a province-wide stay-at-home order and strengthen public health measures. This comes as Peel Region closes some of the schools effective tomorrow. In fact, older schools. More on that in a moment.
For 680's Moment Qureshi joins us live with the latest. Moment.
So, Jana, essentially the message here for this letter is that the emergency brake is not enough. This letter from the medical officers of health from Toronto, Peel, and Ottawa calling on the province to step up some of the measures, including travel restrictions between regions, a stay-at-home order, and legislate emergency provisions of paid sick days to supplement the existing federal income supports. That's something that has been talked about quite a bit, especially today, and moving schools to an online hybrid learning in jurisdictions that have been hit hard. That's just a few of the recommendations that have been laid out in this letter by Dr. Lowe from Peel and Dr. Davila from here in Toronto, as well as the medical officer of health in Ottawa. This comes as we saw almost 6,000 cases of COVID-19 reported over the last 2 days. We had a day that we didn't get reported yesterday because of the holidays. So we found out we had almost 6,000 cases over the last 2 days. And again, another record of the number of patients in intensive care units across the province with COVID-19, that number going up steadily day over day.
3,043 and 29. So
Peel, Toronto, and Ottawa.
It was 3,089, and
they want to stay at home order. They want travel restrictions between the regions. They want schools to move to online or hybrid learning, among other recommendations. Reporting live, I'm Moment Qureshi.
Wait, breaking news from Peel Public Health. It has issued an order for all schools to close and move to online learning ahead of spring break. 680's Phil Martino's working on that and joins us live with the latest. Phil.
James Peel's medical officer of health, Dr. Lawrence Lowe, taking matters into his own hands, issuing a Section 22 order to close all schools in Brampton, Caledon, and Mississauga for 2 weeks. Effective tomorrow, the students will be moving to remote learning.
Just in the last week, we've really started to see our numbers climb with the arrival of the third wave. But with that increase, we were getting to a point where, the dismissals, the exposures that need to be investigated in schools, it was really becoming a significant challenge for our health unit and for our school board partners to keep up.
The Peel District School Board says the board respects the decision made by Peel Public Health. Meantime, Caitlin Clark, a spokesperson for the Minister of Education, Stephen Lecce, has released a statement that reads in part, as confirmed by the Chief Medical Officer of Health, schools remain safe with strong public health measures in place that have kept nearly 99% of schools in Ontario open. The Peel Medical Officer of Health has stated that schools are safe and are not the source of transmission. However, they can be put at risk by a high level of community spread. Toronto Public Health, meantime, will not be following Peel's lead. A spokesperson tells me, as of today, TPH is not recommending the shift to remote learning for schools in Toronto. TPH will continue to manage risk on a school-by-school basis. Phil Martino, 680 News.
680 News Traffic Alert.
This is Zach Bodenstein from the 680 News Traffic Center. Westbound 401 approaching Markham Road. All express lanes are blocked for vehicle fire cleanup. Heavy delays both east and westbound. The 680 Traffic Watch continues.
This portion of the news brought to you by Butler Mortgage. The hangar in North York is now the site of a mass vaccination clinic being run by the City of Toronto. 680's Mark Douglas is there.
Folks I've met coming out of the City of Toronto's newest mass vaccination clinic here at the hangar at Downs View Park all have the same message to any other 60-plus-year-olds who are hesitant to come out and get their shot.
For those people that they don't believe it, I feel sorry for them. They should get it and be sleep happy.
Mayor John Tory says every vaccination is a good vaccination in the war effort, as he calls it, and he's re-emphasizing his position very much in favor of paid sick leave, saying if the time for such a policy has not come already,
then the time has certainly come now. When we're in the third wave, it is one that is taking an even worse toll, it would seem, in terms of ICU occupancy and hospital overload.
Tory says Canadians want workers to be able to stay home if they're showing COVID symptoms without fear of losing their paycheck. At Downs View Park, I'm Mark Douglas.
So with the third wave of the pandemic resulting in spikes of cases in young people and essential workers, the pressure is building for proper paid sick leave in Canada.
With more and more cases being linked to essential workers, Rewati Anandan, an epidemiologist at the University of Ottawa, tells me it's troubling to see so much spread linked to people stuck in a tough situation.
If you've got symptoms, you should not come to work and affect other people. But you got to come to work.
And if you're poor and black, what are you thinking having kids, right? That's what we used to hear from you
$250 a week
dumbass.
for up to 4 weeks has been criticized for not paying enough and for the time it takes to get the money to workers. Jerry Diaz, president of Unifor, tells me he's been calling for provinces to enact their own paid sick leave since it's their jurisdiction, but he says they've failed, so the Trudeau government should change its program.
I think defense now needs to say,
DEI is federal. What the
you
fuck are
pay the
you talking
employees to
about?
stay at home who are sick, and we will reimburse you.
Both experts say rapid testing and vaccinating essential workers will also be key to stopping this trend. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
Happening now, the Texas Rangers and Blue Jays are just getting underway for their home opener in Arlington this afternoon, and the stadium is at full capacity. The Rangers say they will offer distance seating sections beginning with their second home game. This Rangers executive says workers will not be at risk.
We tell our staff the same thing. Our guest service staff that may not be comfortable working games, we told them the same thing. If you're not comfortable working, you don't have to be here. Your job will be here when you are comfortable and when you feel like conditions are okay for you to come.
U.S. President Joe Biden has already come out against the Rangers' plan, calling it irresponsible. You can watch the game on Sportsnet.
And we'll have more coming up in sports. Next, we will track gas.
Your news now on your radio, online, and on your smart speaker.
Play 680 News.
Every day in Canada, 3,000 mortgages renew. Important announcement. If your mortgage renews in the next 90 days, contact butlermortgage.ca. 1.15% 5-year variable rate at renewal. No gimmicks, no fee.
But I said 2,900 last week, right? And we came to 3,089. Was it 3,009? And 3,000. I think they said 43, and then 2,900 and something. How far off was that? 4 days in a row. If you average them, it's well over 3,000. I said 2,900. I got this close without going over.
So don't fit every small business, they fit yours. That's what it means to really listen. For solutions powered by Intel vPro platform, call an advisor at 310-TEL.
I'm Mike from Mississauga. What did
Mike
it feel like
from
when
Mississauga.
I won $2 million with
Oh, Bob Cajun, Kim from Timmins, Catherine from St. Catherine's. Sorry.
Contrast
Oh,
that what's
wow,
going on.
what?
And get them out there. We've got mobile vaccination. The ability to.
Mobile vaccination.
He's got mass testing happening now. In order to open up, they're doing 2
I
rapid
don't know why
tests
people
per
throw that
week.
in there. When
Everybody
they don't
in
know
England,
something, they fill it in with,
2
you
rapid
know.
tests per week. Now,
I
they're
might, you
considered
know.
not to be as scientifically accurate as the PCR tests. But nonetheless, they're good enough so that, 2 tests a week, you probably get a pretty good read as to where you stand. But this is why they're doing this while they're vaccinating, too, in greater numbers than we are in Canada, proportionately.
What?
They're, you know, in the top 10 in the world. Meanwhile, we're 62nd.
We've got 5.
And so he says by next Monday, Boris Johnson does. He wants to see. In fact, he's going to the pub, going to hoist a pint down there, responsibly, he adds. But beer gardens, outdoor hospitality, they're all going to be open. They're opening up again in the UK. We're going in the other direction.
Oh, right.
So who or what is responsible for that? I'm going to take it as an open-ended question here to get you involved. Before we talk about what some people are saying is necessary to do for travel and hospitality, these passports, these vaccine passports, the UK is mulling it over. They're not committed to it yet.
It was over 12,000 in the last 4 days, nothing else.
And then we'll contrast that with Florida, where Governor DeSantis says, no way, too much of an infringement on civil liberties, so we're not going to allow for this. And it's not necessary because, you know, they've left Florida open, and Florida is not the worst case scenario. It's got the third highest population in any state in the US.
How many old people are in condos right now dead? Have been dead for months. Nobody realizes because it's Florida. How many of these people are not from Florida? 2 weeks later, they're back in
going there to retire, and you know
wherever milk comes from, Wisconsin. There we go. I was going to say Ohio.
That's right. Leaving things
milk.
open.
They're not from there. They're not going to pop up on their numbers, are they?
Close to home in Peel region, we've had a unilateral decision rendered by the Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Lawrence Lowe. So the kids are not going back into the in-class learning tomorrow, and then they've got the March break from the 12th to 16th, and it's projected that afterwards they're also going to be staying at home doing the online stuff. To me, there's obviously something.
Peel region's like the outgrowth from Toronto that is not cancerous.
And it's retrospective analysis.
Everything else around this city is cancerous.
Easy to do because
4,519, the S&P 500 up 58 points to 4,078. Tech stocks also rallying, helping the NASDAQ take the biggest gain of the day, up 225 points, or more than 1.5%. And a record on the TSX as well. The Bay Street Stock Index up 36 points, or 0.2% to 19,026. Commodities, no big help though. Gold just about flat at 17.28 kilometers per hour. Lost nearly $3, or 4.5% today to 58.73 a barrel. Our loonie gaining 0.3% to 79.85 cents US. At the Business Center, I'm Stuart McGinn.
Being active is better than being reactive. Dynamic Funds doesn't just take what the market gives. Ask a financial advisor about active management and learn more at dynamic.ca/advice.
Why don't I give it a tea light? I'm trying to think what to do with these damn bottles here. I put a candle in there.
I got them TV blues, baby. I get no loving every night.
401 approaching Markham Road in the all express lane.
That was a black guy in white face.
Million guys worldwide. Visit Revita Medical.
Oh, I'm dancing to something. Okay.
They are cranking out the vaccines in a rather impressive fashion. What did they do the other day? 4 million in a day. In Canada, we're at about, what, 6.7 million all in? Well, you know, we talked about the vaccines that are coming this week.
Come get your vaccines.
Just over 2 million.
Live and well, we're Diamond
You put the crack dealers in charge of vaccine distribution, it would have been done a year ago. It'd be done. Yeah, the first one's free. Everybody be lined up getting 6 or 7 vaccines, but it'd be done. Okay, understand.
Breaking news. This is 680 News. Overcast in downtown Toronto, 12 degrees. Good afternoon. I'm James Monroe.
I'm still Jana Timmons. Here are the top stories right now.
With breaking news from the top doctors of Toronto, Peel, and Ottawa, they're asking the province's Chief Medical Officer of Health to impose a province-wide stay-at-home order. They say more is required to reverse the surge in COVID numbers. Breaking news from Peel Public Health. It has issued an order to close all schools in Brampton, Caledon, and Mississauga effective tomorrow and move to remote learning only. This will last for a period of 2 weeks and take them through the spring break next week. Ontario reporting about 6,000 new infections in the last 2 days alone. To try and make sense of it, go to 680news.com. And traffic alert. All lanes blocked westbound 401 approaching Markham and the Express due to a vehicle fire. Traffic and weather straight ahead.
Time for 680 Sports.
Alex 60.
All right, James, we're underway from Arlington, Texas. The roof is open. The stadium is full. And the Blue Jays are trying to spoil the Texas Rangers home opener.
You trying to pretend you got a sky dome? You ain't got a sky dome, buddy.
We'll ask because I'm curious
Was
if
that the flick of a
we have
lighter?
got something so, misaligned, misguided as policy that we could have done better, and now we've learned. Do we pivot and start implementing some of those things that will get us out of this interminable hell, I guess we can call it. Some of us still drawing paychecks, so I mean, you know, not feeling the anxiety and stress and all the rest of the frustrations of many
This is on the outside, the seal
let's
part of
find
the
out.
package, and I'm
870-6400.
doing this
I'm
to
gonna
it.
take some calls.
Then I put it back on the
And
shelf.
I know it could be a finger-pointing exercise. As I said, yeah, hindsight, retrospective analysis, always 20/20.
Unless you
But
get
this is something
PRK,
that,
you get
a real-world
PRK,
experience.
forward vision.
It should have been a teachable moment.
Oh,
I know you. Need window inspiration?
Variables in the equation, new rules of engagement with the variants and younger people. And the admissions at ICUs now have gone to a point where people from the Ontario Hospital Association are saying it's beyond critical. What did we say last week? The backlog in other surgeries because they can't get in. You've got to maintain capacity for ICU COVID patients, like 250,000. When do we pick up that slack? I see at Sunnybrook, they got the field hospital out back in the parking lot, the employee parking lot. That's got like 84 beds.
employees don't get their own parking.
Heaven forbid, I guess we've got to use them, but never thought it would get to this point. So here we go. We're taking your calls. 870-6400.
Here we go.
And by the way, if you're the parent of a child in school and they're going back tomorrow in Toronto, do you feel confident? Because in Peel, the signal has been rather clear. Dr. Lawrence Lowe there says they're not going to be reopening tomorrow.
What if you did things the proper way? Just bought your house and Peel.
Online learning.
Your kids shouldn't be in school, but they're going to be.
Break, and then after the break, more than likely continue on in that vein for the foreseeable future. How does that give you pause for concern, reconsideration?
It's a tree, eh? Like why is this in here?
Has not yet pronounced
it's not even glued in.
But it may be forthcoming anytime soon. Let me start with David in Burlington. David, I appreciate you joining us here on the Opie Show. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Johnny. You know, unfortunately, we don't know how to lock down. These lockdowns are pathetic. I know you saw video. I'm sure you saw the video of Yorkdale Mall this past weekend with an apparent lockdown. It was disgusting. So, and we knew after the first lockdown that we don't know how to lock down. So vaccines was the way to go. And unfortunately, we have crapped the bed in the biggest of ways. Like we're not capable of it. We're not in Italy where there's cops at all the corners, and if you get stopped and you're not on a direct road to a pharmacy or to a grocery store, the closest grocery store to your house, not your preferred grocery store, you get a ticket. And it's that simple. We're not capable of doing that here. So you're not scaring anybody, so nobody's staying home.
Well, is it that, or is it a case of we've already had a series of lockdowns and we've sort of ping-ponged between gray zone, lockdown, back into the red? You know, people have sort of become frustrated. There's an inconsistency there, or they're feeling that maybe there's not any real impact on keeping the numbers down by lockdown, or it's too broad a brush, that is being applied here, a one-size-fits-all. Maybe they've lost faith. This is where, you've got to have public confidence. If you don't have that buy-in, this is why people are breaking the rules now, and it's almost like they're tuning out. It's like the boy who cried wolf too often. After a while, you're not paying attention anymore.
No, 100%. And the biggest thing is that every business has a capacity that they've been regulated to. Why would you just come up with the number 10? Why wouldn't you pick a percentage of your capacity already so it's equal for everybody? How they came up with these numbers and how they decided this is absolutely pathetic. And then
but that undermines the confidence again, because people are not stupid. There's somebody with 300 capacity and 10, and then you've got somebody with a capacity that really is only about 15, and they get 10. I mean, that's 2/3 of their that's too inconsistent, right? And that's why people have lost faith in some of these public pronouncements. I got to let you run. I appreciate it, David in Burlington. We're going to come back, take more calls on this, because, again, a lot of frustration boiling over. Matter of fact, we played last hour this pastor out in Calgary who just went on a diatribe against the authorities trying to shut down his religious service. He's going to join us after 5 o'clock and give it directly to us. Also, at the bottom of the hour, we're going to talk to Danish coach injury law on this matter of vaccine passports. Some see them as a way forward. Others think they're an infringement of civil liberties.
Of course, simple. When you're outside, you get tickets. Simple. You know, it's the same idiot that say he doesn't bother voting because.
Traffic weather together on the one. Zach Bodenstein.
This report brought to you by Don Valley North Lexus, and some good news. The left lane is now getting through westbound 401 approaching Markham Road in the Express. They were blocked for about 20 minutes or so, all because of a vehicle fire cleanup, and that's still happening, but now traffic getting by in the left lane.
Oh, there's a stalled truck, and oh, now it's on fire.
Collectors towards Markham Road, but the good news is there is some movement at this point. They also have the two left collector lanes blocked approaching Markham Road, and it's with emergency vehicles tending to this. Slowing things down a lot right now, eastbound 401 from the 404 Express and McCowan collectors to east of Markham Road as well. On the westbound 401 back again, approaching Dixie and the collectors, problems are gone. Slow from the 427 and the collectors, and it's slow from Hurontario Express to approaching Mississauga Road. There's a stalled vehicle in the right lane at Hurontario in the Express. Northbound DVP, not as bad as usual. Still busy though from Don Mills to north of Lawrence. We have West Gardner delays west of Jarvis to west of Strawn. At Don Valley North Lexus, enjoy credits up to $3,000 and loyalty rate reduction of 2%. Visit DonValleyNorthLexus.com for details. With the forecast, here's Natasha Ranzahai.
Our temperatures are slowly creeping up a little bit each day this week. It's going to be cooler near the lake, of course, but also throughout the next 4 or 5 hours, watch for some spotty showers out through the west end, out through
cooler near the lake. Everybody knows that.
And then clearing skies down to 4 degrees. Now, tomorrow's a mix of sun and cloud, and then through the afternoon and evening, this time targeting the east end especially, we'll get into some more showers. Even a slight risk of thunderstorms is what the models are hinting at tomorrow afternoon out east. 11 degrees the high. Wednesday, partly cloudy at 13, and then Thursday, some clouds to start. We'll get that sun in the afternoon. It looks like Thursday may be the warmest day this week at 17 degrees. Overnight tonight, down to a low of 4 degrees. It's currently 12 degrees at Pearson.
You said that last Thursday, too.
At the bottom of the hour, we have breaking news from the top doctors at Toronto, Peel, and Ottawa. They're asking the province's chief medical officer of health to impose a province-wide stay-at-home order. They say more is required to reverse the surge in COVID numbers. Breaking news from Peel Public Health. It has issued an order to close all schools in Brampton, Caledon, and Mississauga effective tomorrow and move to remote learning only. This will last for a period of 2 weeks. And traffic alert. All lanes remain blocked westbound 401. Approaching Markham in the Express due to a vehicle fire. Full coverage straight ahead. Get hooked on both.
Well, I guess I might not have
Damn. 640 Toronto.
Great afternoon, Fort Talk Radio. Jays are playing in Texas today. It's the Rangers' home opener. Full stadium. Wow, there's a real disconnect there, right? And this is why I'm wondering. It's going to seem even more
by the way, it just imploded.
A stark contrast when we see American stadiums are full. We still haven't had the opportunity to.
But they ain't got a Sky Dome. They ain't got a Sky Dome. You got a Jumbotron in here, whatever you call that shit.
They're playing out of the Scotiabank, but fans, you'll see fans in certain places in the States. In the golf tournament on the weekend, there were some fans down there at the Valero Texas Open. The Masters would be very interesting in Georgia.
Eaten.
Which, that's another set of circumstances. This election law that some are saying is voter suppression. Coca-Cola, Delta Airlines, I think United joined them as well. They're deciding that
those companies give a fuck about voters.
And so Major League Baseball pulled the All-Star game from the Atlanta Braves this year. Wow, they have that kind of suasion. Although there's some hypocrisy attached to that.
They own the fucking association. Bro, they do whatever they want.
Discussion right now. Let me get to Jeff in Peel region.
It's been amazing. The guys
more restrictions coming, including in Peel, where the schools will not be reopening on Tuesday and for the foreseeable future. Jeff, you agree or disagree with that?
Believe it or not, I actually agree with it because I think the facts are the facts, and what they're starting to prove is, as silly as it may seem to most people that don't want to believe it, I think the kids are the ones who are carrying it. I have 2 daughters.
That's not, again, you're fucking being stupid. The kids are the ones carrying it. No, they are a potential vector reservoir. It's the teachers. It has to be the teachers. The kids go from home to school to home.
Won't say where. And there's about 15.
The teachers are going on vacation to other countries. Remember that.
They're being kids, and they're the hardest ones to tell them no. But when they're going
That's
to school,
not the problem.
their immune systems are strong. They're probably, once again, I'm not a doctor.
When they go to school, it's strong. No, that's not based on anything. That's not based. What he just said is not based on anything.
Roughly Peel and Toronto, and I'm calling it the lockdown because we've been in the red zone. We've never.
What about the inflammatory disorder?
Going up.
What about the vascular? What was it?
It is a virus. It's going all year round. This might be the last solution.
Pulmonary vascular.
It's one of the very few things they've done that I'm respecting, that this is smart. Keep them home for a month.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean,
you just said sending them to school makes their immune system strong.
Ontario says schools remain safe. There's been hardly any in-school transmissions. They're coming into the schools from outside in the community. This is where the kids pick it up in homes and what have you. So,
they're in the community, which they're not doing. They're picking it up at the homes, the one they live in or the one the teacher lives in. You hear they just went in a complete circle around the possible answer, but somehow it's the kids.
5 people where all the kids get sent home because one kid get tested positive. Most of them come back negative, if not all. But once again,
that's not how it works. Again, not based on anything. He's just spouting off.
I'm frustrated when he talked on the radio earlier.
He was able to stick his dick in some girl, therefore he's an expert on immunity.
I work all year round. I've worked since day one, never missed a day of work.
You work, I work. When you fucking tear apart someone's argument to where there is no fact or truth in it, the next thing is, I work, buddy, I work. And then the next thing is, I see you.
Statement. They've done everything else, but they haven't. They haven't been as precise or targeted as they need to be. So that opens up a whole other discussion or avenue for approaching this in a more efficient way. To just shut everything down across the board, it seems like, you know, they're spraying the woods rather than targeting specifics with a rifle and really homing in. Anyway, listen, Jeff, as a parent, it's your prerogative to deal with your own children and their safety.
Staring at the war, almost like he was sort of almost in
on that front for sure.
4,078. The NASDAQ with a gain of 225 points, or 1.7%. Not so much a great day, though, for commodities. Gold
right off the bat. Well, he said spraying the woods instead of targeting with a rifle. Okay, here's the problem. Why would you ever spray woods? There's trees everywhere. You'll never hit anything. You would never hit anything spraying the woods. It's always when they come up out the trenches and foxholes, crossing fields and shit, you get them, right? Even his stolen fucking glory-seeking analogy didn't make sense.
After you've taken a vaccine, could that not potentially mutate the virus to as where it would fight off those antibodies and learn how to fight those antibodies and potentially start spreading?
Your understanding of the situation is not perfect, but yes, sir, you are onto something, sir. You are definitely onto something.
Antibodies and learn a way to get around them.
Yeah, I've heard that argument that somehow.
Yeah, I heard that argument. It's called Darwin, stupid.
If there's not a
that argument.
I don't know how much scientific.
You kill off 99.9% of something. The 1 out of 1,000 that's left is going to be strong, isn't it?
Large damage here by vaccinating people within a pandemic.
I'm touching the skin tone.
And then if you take a look at the virus itself and how deadly and whatnot. I mean,
well, but what they're saying is the vaccine is rather effective against even the mutations or the variants right now. So it's
rather effective.
We've got. And look, flu vaccines are all.
It's funny because other countries are telling us no. 3 months ago they told us about January, February, March, December.
Every year flu season comes around and there are slight changes in the virus. So there's a cat and mouse thing going on. That's what's playing out here, Isaac. That's the best I can describe it to you as. Let me go.
There's no cat and mouse. The virus doesn't give a fuck. The cat's trying to catch the mouse. The mouse is trying to get away from the cat. The virus is not involved in any. The virus don't give a fuck. The virus is like ask the RCMP and Interpol how we sell drugs. We don't give a fuck. We're standing right there in front of you. So what are you going to do? Stop me? My homeboy's 50 feet up the road doing the same thing. What are you going to do? Stop it? You're not going to stop it.
It applies to the outside. No reference or no indication was stated about anything about inside the school. As far as I'm concerned, John.
Well, you've got your kids locked in school for 6.5 hours every day with no oxygen, wondering why they're stupid. Asbestos, mold.
15 feet from someone who has the virus, and you don't need a significant viral load to be in the presence of that virus. That 10 to 15 minutes to get the virus.
It doesn't take 10 to 15 minutes either. That's another thing.
A whole different dynamic.
Remember the Home Depot
I believe, and I think
at the stockyards last year this time, That's a positive. But unless you were within 2 meters for more than 15 minutes, you can't get it. Remember that?
The airflow in the school.
Right. Thousands of cases. They can't figure out where they're coming from.
In Toronto shut down too. Online learning, which gives then the teachers who are at risk.
At no point did they ever say anything about 15 minutes. They used to say stuff sort of like that about tuberculosis, but you people don't listen at all. Distance and time. And they tried in the media here in this city, the journalists, to tell us you can't catch tuberculosis being close to someone with tuberculosis. Like it's okay to fucking lay down on the cot next to them or get in an elevator with them. No, it's not. They tried telling us that. That was more than 15 years ago. They try everything in this city to make people sick. It's only tuberculosis. You can't actually catch it.
How serious it is with these variants, knowing that we've got this Brazilian variant that is growing in our community, Brazilian. And they even say, I don't know to what extent, this P1 virus.
I think he means the P1. Oh, you are stupid. You are stupid.
Because it'll be too late. So the vaccines, I guess, are our only hope right now.
I guess.
Well, they are, and they're late.
Well, they are.
That's the point. I keep driving that home, but everybody's spinning it as a positive story. Like, hey, we got 9 million instead of 6 over, the first quarter. And anyway,
what's that mean, bro?
Delayed, play catch up, and now we're trying to chase after the variants, and it's gotten out of control. We're not going to catch it. So if it's a case of, strict lockdown, no movement anywhere, no commiserating, and blah, blah, blah. In fact, if you think that you can endure that for 28 days, there might be time to pivot to a more precise response.
Northbound DVP, rather, from Don Mills to north of Lawrence. North 427 pretty much back up to speed, unless you're heading from the 407 to Highway 7. Then it's busy. Westbound Gardner delay, west of Jarvis to west of Strawn, and West QEW slow from Burloak to west of Guelph Line. Rudner Law is the only employment law firm in Canada with a client relationship coordinator to make sure you get the service you deserve. Don't wait. Visit rudnerlaw.ca. With the forecast, Natasha Ranzahai.
All right, a couple of spotty showers out through the west end over the next few hours, and then after that, partly cloudy night down to 4 degrees. Now, also in the west end, you may see some spotty showers again in the morning. Tomorrow's a mix of sun and cloud for all of the GTA with 11 degrees by late afternoon. Now keeping an eye on the east end here. Anytime after about 3 p.m. tomorrow could run into some more showers and a slight risk of an afternoon thunderstorm. Overnight tonight down to a low 4 degrees. It's currently 12 degrees at Pearson.
This is 680 News.
We have breaking news from the chief medical officers for Toronto, Peel, and Ottawa. They penned a letter to the province's top doctor requesting a stay-at-home order and stronger public health measures. This comes as schools in Peel region move to online learning ahead of spring break. We'll have those details in just a moment.
But first, we begin our coverage with 680's Moment Qureshi joins us live with the latest calls in the province to do more to fight the third wave. Moment.
James, this letter comes from the medical officers of health from Toronto, Peel, and Ottawa, saying that the emergency brake that the province has applied is not a strong enough measure and that tighter, more restrictions should be implemented, calling for an emergency stay-at-home order, along with more travel restrictions between regions, as well as moving schools to potentially a hybrid learning or online learning platform that we know that is happening in some areas. But that's part of the restrictions that are being called for here from Dr. Davila, Dr. Lowe, and the medical officer
20 years from now,
Ontario.
this guy's still doing the news.
As Ontario is reporting almost 6,000 new confirmed
Sitting in
cases
front
of
of a desk with
COVID-19
a
over the
cigarette
past 2 days. We
reading
didn't get numbers yesterday because of Easter Sunday, but we do know that those numbers were almost 3,000 cases for each day as well. We are seeing record number of people in ICUs. We set another record high with that as well. All of these numbers had Dr. Davila this morning saying it's not good.
So there's no question. The case counts are, horrific. They're not what we want to see. They're
horrific. I was going to put that in the title. Quote unquote horrific.
So once again, the medical officers of health from Toronto, Peel, and Ottawa calling on the province to tighten up those restrictions.
I know what you're thinking, but I gotta go get that China Jamaica gal food, right? But there's gonna be sick people there. Yeah, well, I do.
And we have breaking news from Peel Public Health this afternoon. It's issued an order to close schools starting tomorrow and move to online learning. 680's Phil Martino joins us live with those details. Phil.
So Jenna, Peel's top doctor, Dr. Lawrence Lowe, says just in the last week, they've really started to see their numbers climb with the arrival of the third wave. The dismissals and exposures that needed to be investigated in schools were becoming a significant challenge for public health and the school boards to keep up.
why don't we make the most of this short week between the Easter long weekend and spring break to try to develop a bit of a cooling off period in schools, both to help reduce overall transmission levels in the community, but also to really make sure that we can get to a level, hopefully, where our measures and precautions can continue to keep in-person learning safe.
The Peel District School Board says it respects the decision made by Peel Public Health today to move schools in Peel to online learning. But Brampton Mayor Patrick Brown has tweeted this afternoon, don't close elementary schools, vaccinate educators. Close Amazon.
Right.
Close
We're still on that. The educators might be the ones spreading.
Stores close, crowded factories, and if our supply chain can't handle it, then vaccinate essential workers. Same old approach isn't working. Now, Caitlin Clark, a spokesperson for the Minister of Education, has released a statement that reads in part, as confirmed by the Chief Medical Officer of Health, schools remain safe with strong public health measures in place that have kept nearly 99% of
Chairman
schools
now
in Ontario
confirms that the Tiananmen Square didn't happen.
So there's been good news on the vaccine front in Toronto. The Hangar Sports and Events Center in North York now sticking needles in arms, and they were fully booked on day one. 680's Mark Douglas is there.
It's the City of Toronto's newest mass vaccination clinic, now open right here at the Hangar, and so far everyone coming back outside is giving rave reviews for how well the clinic is run on the inside.
We are very grateful for all this, and hopefully we can get back to normal life as soon as possible. I'm dying to have my grandchildren.
Mayor John Tory paying a visit earlier in the day and making it perfectly clear that he wants the federal and provincial governments to sort out a way to make paid sick leave a reality for workers.
I think that goes along the kind of thinking that most Canadians would have, that people shouldn't be afraid of treating themselves properly, getting tested, getting vaccinated, staying home when they're sick because of the fear of missing a paycheck.
At the Hangar at Downsview Park, I'm Mark Douglas.
There are increasing calls for provinces and the federal government to step up on paid sick leave. This as the third wave of the pandemic sees a spike in younger people and essential workers.
The nature of this pandemic is changing as variants hit more people who have to physically head into work and have few supports to pay the bills if they get sick. To curb this trend, Raywati Anandan, an epidemiologist at the University of Ottawa, tells me governments need to access all tools available like paid sick leave.
The stakes are higher and the risks are higher, and the room for error is smaller.
Jerry Diaz, president of Unifor, tells me while the federal government has a sickness benefit of $450 a week for up to 4 weeks, many essential workers are still going to work with symptoms because the money's not enough or there's too long of a wait to get the cash. He says this should be a provincial responsibility, but the provinces have failed to step up.
The feds are going to have to step in and say to the provinces, since you lack the courage and the brains to get on top of this, we'll do it.
Both say shifting strategies to vaccinate essential workers will also be critical. Cormac makes 20, Parliament Hill.
Tapping now, Blue Jays in Arlington, Texas taking on the Rangers. Toronto up 1-0, top of 2. But the real story here are the images of a full stadium. Fascinating, given much of the world still dealing with new variant cases of COVID and strained healthcare systems. 680's Karen Seolan joins us.
Good. Decided upon these days that are sort of dividing communities or regions, precincts, what have you. In the UK, for example, they're still going through a really robust debate of whether or not vaccine passports, which would certify some people to fly or travel on cruises and what have you, if that should be some kind of initiative that would be adopted there. Meanwhile, in Florida, the governor, Ron DeSantis, was rather emphatic, no way, no how would he sign. In fact, he signed an executive order last week banning the use of COVID-19 passports in the states. When it comes to legality surrounding this, civil liberties, privacy considerations at all, Nanish Kotak covers that off. He's with Kotak Personal Injury Law, and he's joined the Oakland Show this afternoon to give us his reading of such. Nanish, good to have you back on board.
You will see most people are maskless without any food or drink nearby. Reporting live, I'm Karen Seolan.
Gas prices are next.
This is 680 News.
So all them droplets in the stadium are going down like this towards the players, and they're just getting bathed and spit all day, every day when they're playing. Well, he's sick because he's a dickhead today.
Cars4Kids.ca. That's cars with a K. Pick up is quick and easy.
I want to go get the China Girl flu, but I don't have the energy. I know that's horrible. To beat the sickle cell, I need energy to get the energy I got. I know. I think of this shit every day, but not for very long. Then I just go back to selling drugs.
Will not change at midnight. Will stay just under
What would you do, Mr. Officer?
a liter. Traffic and weather together next.
Maybe it's my fault for being born in this color, or whatever the fuck that stupidness you're gonna say, right?
Mom, I can't love you. It never ends. We're juggling mortgage and credit cards, all without Tim's income. You wonder how we do it? We don't. We can't afford the payments. Somebody help us.
New Borrow will help. Use low interest rates and the rising equity in your home to refinance your mortgage and save thousands.
Use your home to get a loan with New Borrow.
Visit newborrow.com. License 13115.
With the Daily Grand Lotto, you can win $1,000 a day for life.
Wait, every single day?
Yeah,
So I'd start liking Mondays?
probably.
But everybody hates Mondays. So I'd suddenly be an outcast, living on the fringes of society, a bizarre Monday-loving weirdo.
But you'd get $1,000 every day for life.
Then TGIM, baby, and every other day too.
The Daily Grand Lotto draws every Monday and Thursday. Buy tickets in store and online at olg.ca.
680 News Time, 441.
Traffic and weather together on the ones. Airborne and Chopper 680. Here's Jordan Kerr.
This report's brought to you by the City of Toronto. Real mess on the West 401. Approaching Markham Road and the Express. The two right lanes are blocked off for vehicle fire cleanup, and in the collectors, the left lane's blocked off. Significant damage done to a pickup truck that caught fire here, so cleanup is underway. Westbound 401 is jammed approaching Meadowvale Express, and from Morningside in the collectors to approaching Markham Road. The collector lanes are getting slightly better, but I recommend taking an alternate like westbound Miller, westbound Shepherd. Both are moving well. Just keep in mind, getting to them is pretty tough. Northbound Morningside and northbound Nielsen jammed up from the 401 up to Shepherd. I recommend jumping up and maybe Meadowvale instead, so keep that in mind. If you're in the Express, get into the collectors as soon as you can because it is terrible. On the eastbound 401, not only slow, it's Churchill east of Mississauga Road, over the 427 to the 400, primarily in the Express. Then this is from Young Express, baby collectors to Leslie, then approaching the DVP all the way to east of Markham Road, alternately Express and collectors.
So the same company that makes the coolers for the intermodal shipping containers, Thermo King, one of the companies, apparently, I don't know if I just didn't notice this till just now, makes the gigantic air conditioners on the top of the TTC buses. And I'm looking at the size of this thing and how heavy it is, and it's on there every day, all day. They barely use it for part of 3 months of the year. Wow, this is a wonderful expenditure of our resources. Thermo King, because you're at least as good as some imported Chinese garlic. And they want you to know this.
Or call 888-999-6488.
You say 1-800-COVID-19.
Natasha Ranta High.
Well, these temperatures staying double digits and rising each day this week. We do have a couple of bouts of showers to deal with. One through the west end here over the next couple of hours. Overnight down to a low 4 degrees. Could see some more showers in the west in the morning. And then dry middle of the day. Now, the afternoon, we're going to keep an eye on the east end, sort of north and east end of the city for showers and a slight risk of thunderstorms with a high of 11 degrees. And then Wednesday, we'll return to dry conditions, partly cloudy, and a high of 13. Of course, every day this week with that lake breeze will be cooler near the lake. Overnight tonight down to below 4 degrees. It's 12
Somebody
degrees.
told you that when you move to Toronto, and we'll know you're a real Torontonian when you stop saying it.
It was record highs pretty much everywhere you looked on the markets today with 3 big tech overall. Shares of Alphabet, Facebook, and Microsoft all climbing to record highs with gains.
Which one of those is tech?
As for the markets, we had records.
Seriously, which one of those makes money off tech? Only Microsoft.
TSX, both the Dow and the S&P with a gain of more than 1%. The TSX up just 36 points to 19.
How about Reddit? Is Reddit publicly traded? Reddit should be giving
investigated. Up 1.7% or 225 points. 13,000.
The Reddit crowd is buying up their Reddit stock to drive the Reddit price up.
Gold finishing just above flat, 17.28 the ounce. Oil down nearly $3 to 58.73 a barrel, a drop of more than 4%. Our dollar up 0.3 cents to 79.85 cents US. At the Business Center, I'm Stuart McGinn.
Being active is better than being reactive. Dynamic Funds doesn't just take what the market gives. Ask a financial advisor about active management and learn more at dynamic.ca/advice.
Oh no, I chipped my diamond.
Spence will replace it.
Oh no, I cracked my diamond.
Spence will replace it.
Oh no, I lost my diamond.
Spence Diamonds will replace it every time. If you lose, chip, or crack your Spence Diamond from its original setting, we'll replace it at no extra charge.
Okay, when's the fast-talking lawyer coming in?
Mayor Patrick
There's 2 dudes and a kid.
Isn't working.
We found a baby on this.
Schools open, teachers and essential workers vaccinated.
Toronto mom spent her severance pay on car insurance because you're stupid, but ended up uninsured.
From Sportsnet 590 The Fan,
Rapper
here's Alex
DMX in
Shapiro.
hospital.
Slajana Vladimir Guerrero
Jordan's
Jr.
Prince
is now
Hamza
safely
vows to
home
defy
for
house
the
arrest
end of the
orders. We're
season.
gonna die.
They go with the 3-2 swung on.
Ugh, what the hell?
Right, and that'll drop for a base hit. Biggio will come in to score.
Police investigating after 3 males fall from 7th floor window of ...
Dan Shulman with the call on
What the
Sportsnet
fuck?
590 The Fan. RBI single for Vladdy in the top of the first.
This is
And
Google
here in
trying
second,
very
the
hard
Jays
to
are
reach
holding
me.
a 1-0 lead over the
Keeps mixing
Rangers.
up the word
Spencer
Indian.
for Steven Matz in
It's
the
the
first.
Hindustan
Now
Times. It
Brown
says
and 2 strikeouts.
Bhagyashree nails jaw-dropping warrior pose on mirror flexible core workout.
Between the Leafs and the Flames face off
Real
at 9:30.
close, Google.
Leafs
Real
holding a
close.
6-point lead atop the North Division. The Toronto Raptors continue their 3-game homestand tonight when they take on the Washington Wizards. Tip off at 7 o'clock on Sportsnet and Sportsnet 1. Fred VanVleet is questionable. Carolina Panthers have a new quarterback. They've acquired Sam Darnold from the New York Jets in exchange for a 6th-round pick this year and 2nd and 4th-round picks in 2022. And it's a pair of #1 seeds in tonight's March Madness championship game. Baylor takes on Gonzaga at 9:20. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour or anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
This is 680 News.
Isn't it 967-1111?
Yes, it's in my reach for it.
Pizza
Spike
just
that
gave us a
power.
deck of Uno cards with a horror.
Ooh, that's so great. I love Uno.
And I love
Yeah. Let's get it, yeah. You need to relax. Shut up, bitch. I don't need no feedback. I'm trying to put my seat back. Don't worry about that other shit. You'll never get it back. Rise like a phoenix from the ashes, like they said I never do. The ones always talking never got a clue. Who the fuck am I? Nah. Who the fuck is you? Riding with my thugs. We just trying to get this money. You can put that on me. We keep the artillery. If they cross me, then it's alright. Everything she possibly could to try to push things. She wrote things all over the graffiti everywhere. What was the last thing she did? Well, get the fuck off my corner, then, go. Whoa, interesting, because I didn't pick this corner, I picked me. She claimed the corner, and the corner disowned her. Like there's nothing positive in me. I am positive you're not getting rid of me, at least not that easily. I just wake up and cross the day in a rush to get paid. Tell the devil he can wait. I got people on my sorrow on the way. I just wake up and cross the day in a rush to get paid. Tell God to look away. Somebody wanna see, yeah. I just wake up and cross the day. I just wake up and cross the day in a rush to get paid. Tell the devil he can wait. I got people on my sorrow on the way. I just wake up and cross the day in a rush to get paid. Tell God to look away. This ain't what he wanna see. I just wake up and cross the day. Yeah, they say home is where the heart is, but back home I was living heartless. We all hard-headed, trying to prove whose head's the hardest. If thugging was an art, you could consider me an artiste. Most my friends grew up not knowing who their father is. Nothing in their fridge, you can see their ribs. Yep, this is how we live. Coming from a place that had nothing left to give, nothing left to take. There's nothing on the plate, but I'm dreaming of a steak. Everything at stake, I gamble with my life. Either 5 stars or behind bars. Love the jars, we holding on. Pump up, pass it on, cause I feel pain too. What I've been through ain't what you've been through. What I feel you, yeah, it's true. Everything outside your window waiting to kill you. You think you know, but you ain't got a clue. Hear me, young Sherlock. Ain't no such thing as a sure shot. It's a cold block, and I just want what you got. It's real talk. Don't make a scene, just give it up. It's how it is. Where the fuck I'm from? Where the fuck I'm from? Where the fuck I'm from? Yeah. I just wake up and crush the day in a rush to get paid. Tell the devil he can wait. I got people on my serve on the way. I just wake up and crush the day in a rush to get paid. Tell God to look away. Somebody wanna see it, yeah. I just wake up and crush the day. I just wake up and crush the day in a rush to get paid. Tell the devil he can wait. I got people on my serve on the way. I just wake up and crush the day in a rush to get paid. Tell God to look away. This ain't what he wanna see. I just wake up and crush the day. Yeah.
Support union in the Express and
been busy for approaching.
Yeah. Let's get it, yeah. You need to relax. Shut up, bitch. I don't need no feedback. I'm trying to put my seat back. Don't worry about that other shit. You'll never get it back. Rise like a phoenix from the ash, just like they said I never do. The ones always talking, never got a clue. Who the fuck am I? Nah. Who the fuck is you? Right up on my thugs. We just trying to get this money. You can put that on me and keep the artillery. If they cross me, then it's R.I.P. It's for my real thugs. The ones that's crazy going to leave just to smell the rosebud. In the search of finer things, maybe God will notice me if I blink. That's what it sound like when the pistol sing. Mama checking the obituary, hoping she don't see me. She cry when they talk about the boy on TV. Wake up some mornings and now I'm on a baby. They say the criminal or gangster, it's all I have to be. Like there's nothing positive in me. I am positive you're not getting rid of me, at least not that easily. I just wake up and crush the day. In the rush to get paid till the devil he can wait. I got people on my serve on the way. I just wake up and crush the day. In the rush to get paid, tell God to look away. Somebody wanna see it, yeah. I just wake up and crush the day. I just wake up and crush the day. In the rush to get paid, tell the devil he can wait. I got people on my serve on the way. I just wake up and crush the day. In the rush to get paid,
couple rounds of showers, one this evening west end. That should end by about 9 p.m. Overnight, partly cloudy down to 4 degrees.
Back home, I was living hard.
Showers through west end returning in the morning. It's the afternoon, keeping an eye on for some showers, even at north, light risk of thunderstorms across cottage country and the east GTA. Tomorrow high 11 degrees. Partly cloudy Wednesday at 13 and back to mainly sunny skies on Thursday with 17 degrees. Tonight, that's below 4 degrees. It's now 12 degrees at Pearson.
As an entrepreneur, I always have to be ready.
Love the job, holding on, puff pass it on, cause I've been paid to. What I've been doing, what you've been through, what I feel you, yeah, it's true. Everything outside your window waiting to kill you. You think you know, but you ain't got a clue. Hear me, young Sherlock, ain't no such thing as a sure shot. It's a cold block, and I just want what you got. It's real talk, don't make a scene, just give it up. It's how it is, where the fuck I'm from. Where the fuck I'm from, where the fuck I'm from, yeah. I just wake up and crush the day. In the rush to get paid, tell the devil he can wait. I got people on the serve on the way. I just wake up and crush the day. In the rush to get paid, tell God to look away. Somebody wanna see it, yeah. I just wake up and crush the day. I just wake up and crush the day. In the rush to get paid, tell the devil he can wait. I got people on the serve on the way. I just wake up and crush the day. In the rush to get paid, tell God to look away. This ain't what you wanna see. I just wake up and crush the day. Yeah.
The kidnapping and murder suspect that turned out to be a terrified teenager. Last Wednesday, police from Peel in Toronto surrounded a car near Dunn Mills and Finch Avenue. They thought 21-year-old Kwame Garwood was the driver. He wasn't. The driver was actually a 17-year-old boy. Peel police have issued a statement saying they regret the mistake and distress that it's caused the
17-year-old was white.
They've contacted the family and are offering support.
What
Police
did
are
you
still
do
trying
exactly?
to
You
find Kwame
went after
Garwood,
the
the man
kidnapped
wanted in
victim
last
as though
week's
they did
kidnapping
it.
in Brampton, as well as a first-degree murder charge here in Toronto. Business is
Oh, the other guy.
COVID-19 has caused funding for
How did
cancer
you fuck
research
that
to
up?
slow down. But cancer isn't slowing down. 617 people will be diagnosed with cancer today. But if 618 people donate today to the Princess Margaret Cancer Foundation, you can help us move faster than cancer. We can continue to increase patient survival rates, develop technologies that help detect cancer earlier, create new therapeutic strategies and less toxic treatments. And together, we can move faster than cancer. Donate to the Princess Margaret.
You hear how they sped that up when she said less toxic treatments? They've done studies. You live 9 years longer on average if you don't get chemotherapy. My dad had liver cancer. 5-year survival rate, 20%. He had it for like 14 years.
You want my money.
School system. Tell the Ford Conservatives to stop using this crisis to pull it apart. A message from the Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario.
680 News Time, 4:56.
Now the 680 News Business Report. Here's Stuart McGinn.
Also, Janet, because of all the hype from the Reddit rally that started off the year on the markets, we watched the most popular stocks in that category pretty much every day because it's been a
pretty wild ride, but a while now since we've seen the more dramatic typical swings for that area of the market today. Those shares of GameStop at one point were down 14% in reaction to the company's announcement of a stock offering of at least 3.5 million shares. The losses later reversed as GameStop said it may offer even more, up to 1 billion shares, all in an effort to accelerate its developing e-commerce business. So while it was actual news today, why does it seem like the Reddit rally has been quieter lately? Colin Szynski is a chief market strategist at SIA Wealth Management.
Interest rates are starting to climb back up, so money's not as cheap as it used to be. Plus, the U.S. had extended a lot of emergency credits to banks a year ago that relaxed some of their capital requirements. That program actually expired and ended last Wednesday. So it's not putting the brakes on, but it's taking the foot off the gas a little bit.
Shares of GameStop cutting steeper losses to close with a decline of just above 2%. The stock just below $187. Well, on the markets, it was 3 for 4 today. If you're looking at it from a record high perspective, the Dow, the S&P 500, and the TSX all climbing to record.